Welcome to your channel, Stories of Islam. Here we re-narrate inspiring stories and impactful tales about the life of our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his honorable companions, which illuminate our path and enrich our lives. Together we dive into the depth of our glorious history to draw strength and faith from it. Our goal is to provide you with an exciting experience from which you learn the noble values of Islam, getting closer to the spirit of this religion through the life of the greatest person known to humanity, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Join us and follow us to live with us the deepest meanings and the most beautiful stories. Humanity before the mission of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was living in a deep darkness. They were quick to do evil and slow to do good. Except for a few of them, as described in his saying, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, indeed, Allah looked at the people of the earth and despised them, both Arabs and non-Arabs, except for a remnant of the people of the book. Allah wanted to spread His grace and mercy to humanity and lift the calamity from them. So, He sent to them the gifted mercy, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to enlighten the world with His message. When the time of his mission sallallahu alaihi wasallam was near, two events occurred in Mecca that indicated it was preparing to receive a great event. The first event was the digging of Zamzam well. The story briefly is that a grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abdul Muttalib, was visited in a dream by a person who told him, "Dig Zamzam." He asked, "What is Zamzam?" The reply was, "It does not run dry nor diminish, and it will water the great pilgrimage." He then asked, "Where is it?" The reply was, "It's at the place where the antelope is, where the crow pecks tomorrow." When he woke up, he found the place where the antelope was, and the crow was pecking there. So he came with his axe and with his son Al-Haris ibn Abdul Muttalib, as he had no other sons. They dug, and when they reached the clay, they shouted out. The Quraysh came and said to him, "This is the well of the father Ismail, so allow us to share in it." He replied, "No, I will not." They said, "We will not leave you." He said, "Let there be an arbitrator between us." They mentioned a soothsayer in Syria. Abdul Muttalib went with some men from Quraysh and traveled to the desert. They became thirsty until they were certain they would perish. Then Abdul Muttalib said, "I think each one of you dig a hole for himself with the strength that you have now. And when one of you dies, his companions will bury him in his hole." They agreed. Then they sat waiting for death due to thirst. Abdul Muttalib said to his companions, "Our sitting here waiting for death is helplessness. Why don't we move on and search for water for ourselves? Perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide us with water." They traveled, and when the camel of Abdul Muttalib moved, a fresh spring of water burst from beneath its foot. Abdul Muttalib and his companions rejoiced and drank. Then they said to him, "By Allah, we will not dispute with you over Zamzam anymore. The one who provided you with this water in this desert is the one who provided you with Zamzam. Return to your well in peace." So they left him to the well. When Abdul Muttalib returned to Mecca, he had made a vow that if Allah granted him 10 sons, he would sacrifice one of them to Allah at the Kaaba. When his 10 sons grew up, he gathered them and told them about his vow and called them to fulfill it to Allah. They obeyed him. He cast lots between his sons, and the lot fell on his son Abdullah, who was the youngest and the dearest to him. Abdul Muttalib took Abdullah by the hand, took the knife, and prepared to sacrifice him. The Quraysh came to prevent him, and his son Abbas pulled Abdullah from under his father's feet. Abdul Muttalib struck him and wounded his face. The Quraysh said to him, "By Allah, you will never sacrifice him. If you do this, it will become a bad proceeding for the people." The Quraysh suggested that Abdul Muttalib go to a soothsayer in the Hijaz to ask her about the matter. They went to her, and Abdul Muttalib told her his story and that of his son. She advised to bring 10 camels as an offering to the gods and draw lots. If the lot fell on Abdullah, then they should increase the number of camels until the deity was satisfied. When they came to Mecca, they offered Abdullah and 10 camels and cast the lots. The lot fell on Abdullah, so they added 10 more camels until they reached 100 camels. The lot then fell on the camels. The Quraysh said, the gods have accepted. So the camels were slaughtered and the people ate from them. The second event that happened before his birth, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was the decision of the evil Abraha to invade Mecca and destroy the Kaaba. The story briefly is that Abraha built a great church in Sana'a, unmatched by any, and he wrote to the king of Abyssinia saying, I have built a church for you and want to divert the Arab pilgrimage to it and destroy the Kaaba. When the Arabs heard about Abraha, they intended to destroy the Kaaba, the house of Allah, they found him, but he defeated them and continued until reached Mecca. The wealth of the Quraysh and the others was brought to him, and among his wealth were 100 camels belonging to Abdul Muttalib ibn Hashim, the chief of Quraysh. Abraha sent one of his men to Mecca, bring Abdul Muttalib. He came to him, and when Abraha saw him, he honored and respected him. He dismounted from his throne and sat him beside him. Then said to his interpreter, ask him what he wants. Abdul Muttalib replied, my need is that the king return to me the 100 camels he took from me. When Abraha heard of this, he said, you're talking to me about a camel of yours? And you leave the house of your religion and the religion of your ancestors? Abdul Muttalib said, I'm the owner of the camels, and the house has its own lord who will protect it. Abraha replied, you could not possibly resist me. Abdul Muttalib said, that is up to you. Then Abraha returned Abdul Muttalib's camels. When they left, Abdul Muttalib went to Quraysh and told them that what happened. He ordered them to leave Mecca and take shelter on the mountain tops to avoid the army's harm. He then went to Kaaba with a group of Quraysh, calling upon Allah for help and seeking his support. He and the others went to mountain tops. When morning came, Abraha prepared to enter Mecca, prepared his elephant and assembled his army. When the elephant was directed towards Mecca, it knelt and fell to the ground. They struck to the elephant to make it stand, but it refused. They turned it back towards Yemen, and it rose and walked. They turned it towards the east, and it did the same. When they directed back to Mecca, it knelt again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then sent birds from the sea, like small pebbles, with 3 stones in each bird's beak and claws. 1 stone is in its beak, and 2 in its claws. They would kill anyone they struck. If a stone hits a person's head, it would come out from his back. If it hits his body, it would come out from his other side. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a strong wind that intensified the power of the stones. They fled, and Abraha was wounded. They carried him with them, and his body rotted piece by piece, oozing pus and blood until they reached Sana'a, where he did not die until his chest split open and his heart fell out. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he reminded the Quraysh of his blessings and favors upon them, such as when he protected them from Abraha and his army. Allah said, have you not seen how your Lord dealt with the companions of the elephant? Did he not make their plan go astray? He sent upon them birds and flocks, striking them with stones of sijil, and made them like Eden straw. In our next episode, we will review the stages of the noble life of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, from his blessed birth to his upbringing in the desert of Banu Sa'd, then his transition to the care of his mother Amina bint Wahab, followed by his guardianship under his grandfather Abdul Muttalib, until he was placed under the care of his uncle Abi Talib. May you be in the care of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will meet you next episode. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.